Come close to me.
Please take your photo.
Please don't come close to me.
It's a Central Park confrontation marked with racial undertones that's gone viral.
Please call the cops.
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
At some point, she decided that, I'm going to play the race card, I guess.
Christian Cooper, an avid bird watcher, says he started recording after telling the woman her dog needed to be leashed at all times in an area known as the Ramble in Central Park.
If the habitat is destroyed, we won't be able to go there to see birds, to enjoy the plantings.
When the woman refused, he offered the dog a treat.
The only way they can keep the dog from eating the treats is to put it on the leash.
That's when, he says, she roughly grabbed the dog by the collar, told him to stop recording, and called police, referring.
Good evening, everyone. I'm John Arnold. Welcome to Protect and Serve. Listen, tonight we want to just welcome you to Protect and Serve and let you know that this is the only forum, the Facebook Live forum, where you get to ask questions and you get to learn the unadulterated truth of what it is, the union between cops, community, clergy, to make our neighborhoods safer. And tonight, what we want to talk about is what to do when you are confronted with a Karen and a Ken. Now, a lot of times, this has been going on. It's nothing new. It's a lot more of the video out there now because more people are recording the instances in which they're being confronted with Karen and Kens. But let me just say this before we get started. Karen and Kens are not exclusive to one particular race. There are Karen and Kens in every race, but it's predominantly in races where there are not people of color. The Karen and Kens are normally acting out against people of color. I've seen videos of them acting out against Asians, against people from Arab countries, from especially with the coronavirus, they're acting out against the Asians. But a lot of what we see are recordings of them acting out against people of color, namely African Americans. And I'm not even going to limit it to African Americans, Black people, because if you're from the Caribbean, if you're from Africa, they're acting out. And one thing you need to know about Karen and Kens they are people who are prejudiced, racist. They have a severe case of ignorance when you listen to what they say. And they are everywhere. We found them all across the nation. What we're going to show you tonight is local videos. We're going to show you videos across, on the other side of the United States. Wherever you go, you might run into a Karen or a Ken. I have run into a Ken when I was the deputy police director in a unmarked police vehicle in the township of West Orange. I was parked on the street waiting for an officer to meet me there. And an individual came out of his house. It was a nice house, probably worth, $500,000 to me. I don't know, but it was a big house. Okay. It should have been on, the kind you see on MTV Cribs when it was back in the day. I'm telling you how old I am. But anyway, he came out and he confronted me and asked me, what was I doing on his street? And I'm like, well, sir, this is a public street. It's paid for by taxes. And what this gentleman proceeded to do was he was so persistent. I mean, he was really persistent. I'm in a unmarked vehicle. I identified myself as law enforcement, and he still pressed the issue so much that, he went back and said, I'm going to report you to the police. Now, I was about a step away from having the police respond and lock him up myself. But I let him go through his show, because what I was there for was more important than dealing with Ken. And he went in, but I took a preemptive strike. I called ahead to West Orange PD, identified myself, told them how to verify who I was and what the nature of what I was doing there. And the conversation went a different way. They didn't even send out a patrol car. Now, was he upset? Yes, he was very upset. But the incident just goes to show you that no one's immune to having an incident or a confrontation with a Karen or a Ken. So tonight's show, we're gonna look at some cases. We're gonna give you some background on the cases, and we're gonna give you some solutions to what you can do if you are unfortunate to find yourself in this type of situation where you are confronted by a Karen or a Ken, because they are out there. Believe me, they're out there. And especially in the climate now where there's so much of a feeling against, the Black Lives Matter movement, They definitely are just showing their face. I mean, it is just outrageous. So I want to bring in my guest for the night. You know, the expert commentators. They know everything. I don't know anything. They know everything. I'm talking about Detective Stephanie Treadwell, retired from Newark. I have to say that. And Detective Anthony Cox, retired from the Essex County Prosecutor's Office. They are the regulars on the show. They give me lessons in what we bring to the table. I bring it to the table, and they slice it up and serve it and spoon feed me and tell me what it is that I need to know. But listen, on tonight, this is an important subject. They did a subject called "What to Do When Stopped by the Police." We want you as viewers, we want you to weigh in on it tonight. We want you to weigh in on the subject. And if you have an incident where you were exposed to a Karen or Ken, let's talk about it. Let's put it out there, right? So make sure you engage in the live comments, all right? Welcome, everyone. How you doing? How's it going?
Doing good. Doing good.
Good evening. Welcome into my living room, and may peace be within your home.
There you go. Listen, I want to know what's in that living room. What you got on that burner in that kitchen? To come over there, and we're gonna have some food over there. All right. We're talking about Karen and Ken tonight, and you know, we can't talk about Karen and Ken and not give our viewers pertinent information on how to protect themselves, because if they find themselves in a Karen or Ken situation, you can lose your job. You can lose your job. You can lose your life. All right. You can lose your life over a false accusation. And, you know, the conversation tonight is going to be geared around, because I know, you know, we have some important facts to bring out to our neighbors. But guess what? We got a special guest. We have a special guest. I'm talking about none other than retired detective Corey Grubb. Hey, Corey, what's up?
Hey, good evening, Bishop. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me.
How's it going, man? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. We want you to, you know, it's always good to see you, man. You always bring a lot of information to the table. A lot of people don't know about Corey, but Corey is one of the stars of the retired from the Newark Police Department. Made it out, but he was a wealth of information. Helped out in the community, brought some good things to the table, brought some good investigations, and you know, it was a pleasure to work with. Everybody wanted a piece of him, but I had to say no. As deputy director, no, he's with me. He's gonna stay with me, and we had a great time together. You know, breaking cases and giving the residents satisfaction that they were looking for, who were victims of crime. So welcome to the show. But I do want to do this before we go any further. We must pay tribute to the two generals of the civil rights movement that have gone on and transitioned on. I'm talking about none other than Congressman John Lewis, who was a battle-tested warrior, a general, a giant, walked with Martin Luther King, was fighting battles even through his sickness. And I'm also talking about VT Vivian. So what I want to do on Protect and Serve, and viewers, I hope you're okay with this, but we do want to pause and show deference to the tribute, the sacrifice that they made for people of color and for everybody who was involved in the civil rights struggle. We want to take a moment and have a moment of silence for them at this time. All right. You know, I'm in the word. I like to stay in the word. The word says, give honor to whom honor is due, and they are definitely worthy of honor. I remember one of the last times I saw John Lewis, he was preaching. You know, I guess, you know, it's not that you're so biblically and scholarly when you're a preacher, man. It's what you have been through. You know, we say in theology school, just tell the story, and he had a story to tell. So we really, you know, are keeping the family in prayer, both families, the Lewis family and the Vivian family, because their family members did sacrifice a lot so that you and I and people of color can go places that we want to go and do things that we want to do. And the struggle continues, but we will always remember them, remember what they taught us and what they left us with. So let's go over this Karen thing. Now, first of all, as I said, and I know you heard me, it's not just to one race of people, because there are Karens in all races, and I know I haven't seen too many African American or Black Karens, but I have seen that have Karens. And what I would like for you to do, Stephanie, I think you have something to tell us about Karen. Can you tell us about Karen?
Yeah, I sure can. First, I want to say hi to Daryl, Diana, Deborah, and Kay. Kay, you the only one don't have a D in your name. But anyway, you're always there, so it's a good thing. Welcome.
Hey, everyone. How's everybody doing?
Yep. What's going on?
Okay, let me just go real quick about Karen, where the name Karen came from. Karen is a term used for a woman perceived to be entitled or demanding beyond the scope of what is considered appropriate or necessary. A common stereotype is that of a racist white woman who uses her privilege to demand her own way at the expense of others. Now, depictions also include like demanding to speak to the manager, or I'm calling the cops because you assaulted me. So as of 2020, the term was increasingly being used as a general purpose term of disapproval or expressing contempt. Now, Karen, the word just didn't start like now. There's a whole history of Karens. Before it was another name, and I'll get to it. Anyway, Blacks needed to be careful because Karen wouldn't hesitate to use her privilege at the expense of others. Karen has gone by different names. Back in the 90s, when Baby Got Back was out, it was Becky. Remember Becky with the good hair? I guess any hair is good. Oh, sorry, you guys, I don't have none, but I'm good with that.
I feel so.
Karens are part of a lineage of entitled white women going back a couple of centuries in this country. And that Karen is part of a continuum. Before there was Karens and Beckys, there was Miss Ann. Anybody know Miss Ann?
Y'all got too young for that.
Yeah, because Miss Ann, that was from the Jim Crow era.
Okay.
Now, yeah, so, but check it out, Karen. Everybody know how to spell Karen, K-R-E-N. However, in California in June, their state assembly introduced a bill that would classify fraudulent, racially discriminatory 911 calls as hate crimes. Under that bill, someone making such a call would be sued for up to $10,000. Now, come July in San Francisco, they introduced this act called, check it out, Caution Against Racially Exploitative Non-Emergency Act. That's the Karen Act, C-A-R-E-N. I'll repeat it. Caution Against Racially Exploitative Non-Emergencies Act. So now that's on, it should be on, out there in California, it's actually on the code sheet for when the police have to respond somewhere. That's an actual crime that they have to address. So that's a little history.
Right. And that's very important because what we're seeing is that we have seen instances where, you know, people have lost their jobs, good paying jobs, because of these false accusations. People have been arrested, and also very unfortunate, we have seen where some have lost their life during an arrest because of a false accusation. There was a video where a young lady, the officers spotted her. She was a young white woman, spotted her smoking marijuana, And she went to, as they approached her, she put the marijuana in her pocket. And she said that when they said, listen, we understand that you've been smoking marijuana. And right off the bat, she accused, she said, you didn't see that black man that was with me? And they said, well, they were watching her, so they already knew. She said, he's right up there. He was smoking marijuana. He was smoking, and gave a description and everything. Now, let's say, you know how it is as police officers, we always would act upon a description. That's our probable cause. That's the reasonable suspicion that we have to go out there and act and take an act. And thank God these officers were observant before they came on the scene, did not go any further, made the arrest. And then I believe they were going to charge her with making a false police report. Now, when I was coming up, there was a movie out called Rosewood, and I think Tony, we talked about this. Can you remember that?
Yes,
Rosewood.
I believe back in January 1, 1923. The victim's name, well, the woman's name was Fannie Taylor. She stated a neighbor heard her screaming, went to her house, and she said a black man came into her house and assaulted her. Her husband found out and started having neighbors come behind him and saying, "Oh, come help me find this guy that assaulted and raped my wife." But she did make a report that she wasn't raped. But from, the anger of everybody, a black man came in and beat up my wife, or assaulted my wife, turned into a whole massacre where a neighboring town in Florida, I believe it was Gainesville, Florida, they had a Ku Klux Klan meeting, and about 500 of them joined this mob and just went and burnt down the whole town, killing, hundreds of people. And burnt the town down, assaulted any, black man that was there. Also, there was one who escaped the chain gang at the time. His name was, hold on, look at my notes.
That was portrayed in a movie as well. As you're looking for your notes, I remember the movie that same exact scenario, except for in the movie it was that the wife was having an affair with someone who was very abusive to her, and when it went beyond a normal sex act, when it got violent, and he got very violent with her and put marks on her, she had to make up something. So right away, she said, it was a person of color, a black man. So we it's not anything new. This has been going on for years, but as we said, it's getting a little bit more exposure now because folks are videotaping more and putting it on social media. So, hey Corby, I'm going to pull you in on this subject, man. What's your thoughts on this when you're being confronted? I mean, you've been out there on the streets and, stuff like that.
Well, the whole thing with calling 911 on individuals of color, predominantly black men and black women, and those calls are quite damaging because what happens is, just like you said a few minutes ago, you put the person at risk. The caller puts the individual at risk of losing their life and liberty. They can lose their life from the hands of the police, and they can also lose their liberty and their freedom by the hands of the police. And this whole thing is just basically, it's been weaponized, as they say. Racially motivated police reporting has been weaponized where you got like two different types where, the calls, complaints, and the reports made, they're deemed suspicious when the individual isn't even doing anything at all. It's on a suspicious nature. And then secondly, the same thing, the calls and complaints made against blacks. The caller capitalizes on the actual call because they're using the law enforcement aspect as a weapon to cause harm to the victim.
You're right.
And there's a lot of cause and effect with that, where, you're taking away police resources for something that's a non-emergency, number one. That's not proper at all. That's dead wrong.
Right.
All because of your racist, overtones on the whole call. You just can't do that. And what it does is you're segregating like spaces by calling 911. You're creating different cause and effects, segregating spaces, and now you're exposing people of other ethnicities to physical violence and even emotional trauma. There's a lot of people that are emotionally scarred behind all this. And, you know, it's just that I'm glad to see that finally they're passing ordinances and bills, just like Steph said with the Karen Act. I'm glad that they're doing that now because I know that recently New Jersey, there's like 4 states, New Jersey, Minnesota, Oregon, and Washington. They considered bills that would criminalize calling the police when crimes haven't even occurred. And as of right now, Oregon and Washington, they got the bills in effect as of, I believe it's June 11th. And I believe New Jersey and Minnesota are working on it in progress right now.
Gotcha.
So,
Gotcha.
you know, I just think that, you know, people, you just shouldn't, if you have, let's talk about it. You know, if there's something that's going on, instead of calling the police, hey, let's talk. Let's get to know each other. I get to know you, you get to know me. We know each other's differences, likes, dislikes, and let's meet at the common ground.
Right, right. You know, that's funny. We opened the show with the Amy Cooper, Christian Cooper, incident, and they're not related. They just happen to have the same last name. And one of the things that, you know, is we're going to play the second video, and you'll see in the second video how she took it to the next level. But let's look at the second video from Central Park, if we can.
An African American man. I am in Central Park. He is recording me and threatening myself and my dog.
Though Cooper does not appear to move any closer to the woman, her call becomes even more frantic.
I'm being threatened by a man in the ramble. Please send the cops immediately.
Cooper says he kept on recording because he had no intention of being intimidated.
I'm not going to participate in my own dehumanization. I'm not going to feed into this. You know, we live in an age of Ahmaud Arbery where, you know, Black men are gunned down because of the presumptions that people make about.
He stopped recording, walking away as soon as she leashed the dog.
Thank you.
Tonight, this woman, Amy Cooper, no relation to Christian, told News 4 she overreacted.
It was unacceptable. You know, and words are just words, and I can't undo what I did, but I sincerely and humbly apologize to everyone, especially to that man, his family.
Amy apologized during our call, but also...
See, so now there you go. Now let's say under those circumstances, hey Tom, welcome back. You know you had power outage down there. I'm watching feed here from New Brunswick.
Yeah.
There's bad snow, rainstorms and thunderstorms.
Yep, thunderstorms, exactly.
Welcome back. But what she did was she took it to the next level, because what she was trying to do was elicit a response, an immediate response from the police by saying that, you know, listen, what he was doing wasn't bad enough, just taking pictures of her and videotaping her. But the fact that she said, I want the cops here now, she said he's threatening her, you know, so she tried to escalate it. Now, we've been in the radio call. We responded to calls, and we get a call like that, you know, we're moving, because listen, you know, the propensity of violence is very great when you hear that, especially a man attacking a woman. You know, it doesn't, regardless of race or whatever. Whenever you hear that, we're responding. So the thing is, with Amy Cooper, Deborah Mapson asked a question in the comments. She wanted to know what was going on with the bills. Like there are no tough laws. Well, let me tell you what Governor Cuomo did. He came out with the Amy Cooper law. It's a proposal, and with the Amy Cooper law, it's a proposed law that will make it a hate crime when you call 911 and report and make a false accusation based on race, gender, or religion. So that's part of his police reform bill. And I believe that, like you said, Corey, New Jersey's following suit, and a lot of other states, because they understand that, listen, this is putting them in a situation. By these people doing this, it's putting the police department. Now you bring the police department in, the officers now, especially with the proposed police reform nationwide that's going to release them from immunity. Now you're putting me as a police officer in harm's way on a civilian, complaint or civil suit. So if I take an action, and now you know how it happens. If I take an action and make an arrest, it's a false arrest based upon a false report of a crime, I'm going to be sued now. So they just name everybody in there, and all of us have had cases where our names were on lawsuits and stuff like that, and now it's going to be multiplied. So yes, the recourse is to start charging these people who make these false accusations against people, because look at this. Christian people was a bird watcher. I don't know what the man's livelihood was, but let's say his livelihood was he worked for a prominent Fortune 500 company. Just like they did to Amy Cooper when they found out that she lied. If he had got arrested, he'd have lost his job, his livelihood. He might have had children in college. So it's a lot when you do stuff like this. When they do stuff like this, it's a ripple effect. And yes, there needs to be some type of recourse for the person who they made the allegation against. And I'm glad to see that we're moving in that direction. With the laws that they're proposing, and we'll see coming forward out of the police reform. It can happen. So. The thing is that, okay, I got two comments here. One, I want to, Michael Barbie. Hey, Mike, what's up? He said he wrote about the incident of Amy Cooper and Christian Cooper on the microaggressions of whites. Wow. That's something right there. I like to see that writing. We're going to have to go offline and have that writing. And then Diane Mary, she said she was charged, but he won't participate. Now, all right, I understand, but I think that's out of his hands. I think that's out of his hands that whether he participates or not, it was a call. There's already footage he went on the news. He broadcasted it virally. I think it's just like in domestic violence, you don't really need the other person's, they take over, the state takes over and brings the charges and proceeds with the case regardless. So that needs to happen. Now we have something locally, right? We have something locally. I believe it's in Montclair. We had an instance in Montclair. Do we have that one, Steph? Is that one that we sent in, or was it Palm Beach?
I did send you Montclair. I don't know if you edited or not. But we do.
Let's roll the one we have. Let's roll. Let the producer roll the one that we have. The next video we have to show the viewers.
She's been waiting 2 years to do this. She's been waiting 2 years to do this.
This New Jersey woman is facing criticism after she called police over a permit dispute. She was arguing about whether her black neighbors had the proper paperwork to build a stone patio in their backyard. That argument and the video that went viral then prompted a protest denouncing racism. News 4's Jen Maxfield spoke with the family behind the camera. She has more now from Montclair.
At 44 Norman Road, I need to call.
This is the beginning of Susan's 911 call, summoning Montclair police after she was told to leave her neighbor's property.
Because you're attorneys, you know what to do.
Exactly. So please walk away from our property.
Fareed and Narinda Hayat are both attorneys, and they knew they didn't need a permit to install a stone patio.
We don't want to wage war with our neighbors. We just want to be on our patio in quarantine backyard and, be at peace.
The Hayats say Susan has complained ever since they moved in 2 years ago about a tree house they built for their kids and even the color of their house paint. But this time she called Montclair police after witnesses say she falsely claimed Fareed pushed her. The video Narinda shot has been viewed more than 1 million times.
Who pushed me 10 feet? Sounds like you didn't do it. They're saying he did it.
I put my hands on you.
Are you kidding me?
If the police had come here and overreacted, I could have been dead. So the police did not do that.
When Montclair police showed up, they not only determined Susan's assault claim was false, they asked Fareed if he wanted to pursue charges of filing a false report against her. He did not.
Simple answer is respect us, understand that we are not suspect, and that, give us the benefit of the doubt.
The Hayats say they are no one got hurt and grateful that their white neighbors like Lisa Korn stood up in their defense. Standing up for your neighbor is the way change happens.
It's also
the moral imperative of our time. Dozens of young people chanting anti-racist slogans marched past Susan's house last night and wrote, "Not here," in chalk outside her home.
We stand up for one another. We stand for justice. We stand for making sure people are doing the right thing. That's what makes Montclair so special.
We tried to contact Susan for comment, but nobody answered. As for the Hayats, the work on their stone patio continued uninterrupted today. In Montclair, New Jersey, I'm Jen Maxfield, News 4 New York.
Wow. Everything we just said. Now, I didn't really watch that. I didn't see the extended clip of that. But listen, now she picked the right one because she picked with two attorneys. She picked on two attorneys. They're smart enough to know about and all of that stuff. That's just harassment. Then to have the audacity to come onto their property and try to make their point. See, that's a Karen. That's a Karen. And the fact is, the police responded properly because when they responded, they said, "Do you want to make a complaint?" Now, I have a problem when you have instances like that. In order to show people, listen, I believe in being merciful. I believe in being kind. But this is something that's been going on, and if it's been going on, it's not going to stop. Now, she might have been trained, and it might stop, but if it was a different situation, no, I would say no. I need to proceed with this because now I have to make sure that my family is not going to be harassed, and we know what it is.
Exactly.
It's laws against it. The cops came and said it's racism. Come on, the community said racism. And let me just say this: I'm starting to see that everyone is getting tired of ignorant, racist people. They are. They are. I mean, if you drive through the suburbs now, you see a lot of Black Lives Matters lawn signs, houses that the occupants are not Black. Because what they're showing is a sign of solidarity. Because, racism is, come on, man, how long are we going to be a racist country? Folks who travel and see the world, they understand. Listen, man, they sort of embrace other people's culture. I have to just say, as a Black man in America, when I travel abroad, yes, there's racism everywhere I go. I'm aware of that. But it is not like it is when I come back home. It is sickening. And it's time, I believe that our kids, our children, they're so intermingled. They're so appreciative of each other's culture. They're calling out this stuff. And I believe it. That I'm praying for the time where, the KKK is dwindling off and gone, because we just don't have room for it in our society. So now let's get into some of the things where what we should do when we are confronted by Karen. And okay, we haven't spoke about Ken. But I think we have a Palm Beach video. Can we play that real quick? The Palm Beach video. Because the incident that happened in Palm Beach, it wasn't an African American lady. She was from the Caribbean. I'm not sure if she's in Jamaica or Trinidad or where, but let me just tell you. Okay, the producer said we don't have that video, but I'll give you some background on it. What it was, this is the ignorance of racist people. They don't think that people of color can afford the same type of houses that they own. Right? And what Ken did was he came out and he confronted a woman who just bought a house in the complex. It was a gated community. She just bought a house and she was riding her bike and he started confronting her. And he was very disrespectful to the point where she pulled out her phone and started recording the conversation. When she recorded the conversation, he's threatened to call the cops. I'm going to call the sheriff's department on you, because you're in here riding your bike in the community. It's not your community. It's not your community. So I thought America was the land of the free and the home of the brave, but I guess not. So she was riding a bike through, I guess, a trail, and she, let me tell you, she stood her ground. But one thing you got to understand, man, our women, our sisters, they don't play. So she stood it, she videotaped it, went viral, And of course, the same thing, Ken got in trouble. All right. So now she did it right. And I want to talk about that right now. What are some of the things that we should tell the viewers that if they themselves or their children are confronted by a Karen or a Ken, how they should respond? I want to hear from everybody on this, starting with Stephanie. Ladies first.
Okay, first we got to react calmly. Don't let them see you get a rise out of them. You know, don't let them take your energy. Hey! You know, and to react to the issue and not the person.
Right. Right.
Tony?
You know, my thing, breathe. Make sure you breathe, stay calm. Yes, this might be one of those I wish a person would moment, but you got to come out of it safely. You don't know if they have a weapon on them or, you know, what they intend to do. They said they're going to call the cops, but it might lead to something else. Just, you know, breathe and stay calm. And if you have your phone, make sure you record it.
Yes.
Corey?
Yes. That's true. That's true. Corey, what you want to say? Let's wait. Let's hear your weigh in on it.
Well, you know, there was I used to watch the Dave Chappelle show, and there was a skit called "When Keeping It Real Has Gone Wrong." So there's going to be a skit probably one day when keeping it Karen or when keeping it Ken has gone wrong, because these folks, when approaching somebody you don't know, you're really taking a risk.
Yeah.
Somebody opening up that can on you. And you know what can I'm talking about.
Yes.
But basically is that when it boils down to it, people need to mind their own business. Mm-hmm. Nobody's committing a crime or nothing. Hey, mind your business. I mind mine, you mind yours. But you don't have to reveal personal details to nobody because they're on the phone, you know, making phone calls, 911, and, you know, trying to basically put a little fear and intimidation inside the person that's literally doing nothing. You don't have to look. People walk up to you demanding who you are and why you're here and does your house have this and that. Hey, listen, that's none of your business.
Your business.
Reveal any personal details. You don't know who that person is. He could be a person. He could be somebody that's an identity thief. You know, you never know what people's motives are these days. But in a nutshell, you don't have to reveal any personal information about nothing. You just
people say they live there too. We all know
exactly. Right, exactly. Right. And you look over them. You be the bigger person, you look over them. You don't have to react. You keep calm. Just like Tony said, you stay calm, you stay cool. And you take your mental notes as well, because you're gonna need a defense too. Just like the gentleman in the park, he was bird watching in Central Park. But the smart thing about what he did, hey, he recorded it. Just as she was on her phone recording on a tape line to the police, he said, hey, this is going to be my defense. I'm going to have to record her acting erratic and ignorant for no reason. All because he just asked her to put the dog on the leash.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And you know that's important because you know, in the Palm Beach incident, she told Ken, she said, I don't have to tell you anything. And you don't.
Exactly.
You're not the police. Right. You know, and that's what happened with me in West Orange. The gentleman walked up to me and said, well, can you show me? No, I'm not going to show you any ID. I don't work for you. I don't work for the city of West Orange. I'm not obligated to show you my ID. I'm not here on official business for you. You know, and that's the boldness of privilege. And, you know, like you said, Corey, you want to be very calm. You know, and Anthony said this too. You want to be very calm, cool, and collected, because if you lose yourself, you know, there was instances where a FedEx driver he was delivering packages in a gated community. Someone gave him the code to come in and deliver the package, you know, and he was stopped and detained. Now
and the guy blocked his path.
Right, that's kidnapping. Mm-hmm. That's kidnapping. I'm sorry. I want to proceed with charges. Yes, that's kidnapping because you detained me and now you're affecting my livelihood, because if I get in trouble, thank God he pulled out his phone and started recording, because had he lost his job because he didn't make his deliveries in time, listen, man, they say, listen, you were goofing off. You were there for, I think they detained him for like a half hour. That's 30 minutes out of my life. No, I'm sorry. There are recourses for that. There are consequences for that. So, it's the individual choice whether they proceed to go after them. But one of the things I don't want to do, I don't want our viewers, and I want you to tell them, because Deborah Mapson, she's dropping them tonight. She said that the young folks, now let me tell you, the young folks, you try to tell them to be cool, calm, and collected. Let me tell you something. They're not different. They don't have that type of wisdom to say, listen, let me just sit back and, let me see how this thing is going to go and play out. And young folks will open that can that Corey was talking about. Mm-hmm. They will open that can up on on Ken or Karen. Because I've seen videos that it went wrong. What was it, Dave Chappelle? You said
when keeping it real gone wrong.
Keeping it real goes wrong.
It went very wrong. It went very wrong. And our young, and this is important, because we as adults, we have to show our young kids how to deal with these things. You know what I'm saying? We have to show them how to deal with it the right way, because if we don't do it the right way, if they don't do it the right way, they can lose everything they have. You know what I'm saying? They can lose their chance to go to college. They can lose so much at their young ages. So it's important that we let them see things like this, that they hear stuff, these type of conversations. One of the things that we did as a people when we were just coming out of slavery was that our parents taught us and talked to us about how to survive in a racist America. My dad told me how when they used to ride down 95 to go back to Milledgeville, Georgia, because we're from Georgia. And when he would ride down there at nighttime, they had to pull into the woods. And I'm like, well, why do you have to pull into? He said, because if my father missed my dad when he was young, he said, my dad didn't pull into the woods with the 7 of us, chances are we got caught in those roads going down to Georgia, we might not survive. They would kill the whole family. So when our young kids, the internet, television, that gives them some information, gives them access, but we have to tell them our heritage and our history as a people, what used to happen to us, and how to protect yourself, and there's always a greater result in restraint, because unfortunately in this climate, the world, the still, and with all this going on, there are still police officers who are still using brutality against people of color. You would think that with all this going on, that we would be like, okay, let's slow it down, officers. But no, there's still. Look at what's going on in Portland. They had a protester. Now look at this. He got his arm broke because they beat him because he just asked. He was a Navy veteran. Said, "What's going on? What are you guys doing?" The secret police were there. They beat him and broke his arm for asking a question. This is America. This is America. So when we find these Kens, and I guarantee there was some Kens and Karens in those uniforms, this is what they do. So yeah, we have to. I want to look at a couple more questions. Mike Barbie said the beauty of the Montclair incident can be seen in the reaction of the Black couple. The reality is, in spite of the racial attacks that we face as a people, our reaction is not to inflict the same pains on them, even as they seek to destroy us. By nature, we are a forgiving people. Yes, I've heard that. I've seen it. And the thing is that someone else said that the brother Christian Cooper, he's a Harvard grad. So it's not that he's some Johnny come lately. He's someone that had a lot to lose. He worked hard, going to Harvard. It's a story in itself. He graduated from there, and now to be confronted there for watching birds. It's something he wanted to do, watch birds.
Birds, exactly.
Yeah. Only bird I want to watch is chicken because I'm about to put him in a pot or something. but That was Christopher's thing. He wanted to watch birds, and hey, that's cool,
Yeah.
but he shouldn't be penalized for something that he loves to do, something that brings him comfort. And for her to do that to him is why she lost her job, why they took her dog away. And she had a good job. Now, see, now this is the irony of it. She thought that harm was going to happen to him, but everything happened to her. She was charged with a crime, right? Whether it's still pending, or not. She lost her job. She lost her Cocker Spaniel. And all of this because she decided to be Karen for the day. Probably a nice woman, but made a wrong choice. So, when we talk about Karens and being confronted with them, yeah, we have to make sure that we tell our folks how to handle the situation, because a lot of the stuff that I see, video cameras are fine, but one thing you have to be careful. Other people are videotaping as well.
Yes.
So be calm.
One thing about Montclair, sorry about that, but at least we got Lieutenant Tyrone Williams up there.
Oh, so what's that? Oh yeah, in Montclair, yes.
Shut it down because he's a lieutenant on Montclair PD. However, his origins is from Compton, so he ain't trying to hear.
That's right. That's right. Tyrone's been up there for a while. I remember him when I was working in as a detective in the prosecutor's office. We had some good cases together. So we want to go around now. Let's go around and let's just talk about let's do our final thoughts on this, because I believe we're going to lose power pretty soon. So I want to get this in for our viewers.
See that?
Hey, God is still in control.
God is bad.
So let's get some final thoughts on it. What are some other recommendations that we would say to our viewers in this type of situation dealing with Karen and Ken?
Don't try to educate them. They ain't trying to hear it. Don't even debate with them.
Right.
And avoid preaching to them.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
All right. Good advice. Good advice. Yeah. Corey, what is your thoughts?
It's just two points I just want to touch on. Basically, if you feel as though you're about to be in a situation of a Karen or a Ken, and the good thing, hopefully you're with people who have the use of a cell phone or a camera. Hey, look, we're in a high technology age right now. You people, we have cameras on watches. So, hey, if it comes to it, spread out a little bit. Hey, record this. You never know, because you never know what this incident may lead to. Have the person that you're with record. Hey, it's better to have more recordings than one, because you know with that one, they're going to try to destroy that quick.
One angle.
Right.
Right. So get a different perspective from a few people if you're with other people. If not, hey, do the best that you can. But the second thing I wanted to say was that this whole thing with living while black, existing while black, and the Karen Ken stuff. Listen, at the point of the 911 call, there has to be some sort of training put into effect where when that call goes into the communication dispatch center, that dispatcher needs to be trained to decipher whether or not, if this is a baseless 911 call, is it a sense of immediate urgency? You treat things as such, but you also got to be able to decipher this information that's coming in to say, you know what, how am I going to deliver this to the patrolling units, or the unit that's going to respond? Because there has to be some sort of extra notes in the comments for that responding officer or officers, for them to be decisive in their actions and make legitimate actions towards this whole incident. And that's, again, that training is very important.
Right. The training is very important. And Sergeant Yelverton, Darryl Yelverton, he said one thing. He said, make a counter call.
That's what I was gonna say. Yep.
Yeah, which is what I did up in West Orange. I made a counter call. You know, I shut him down before, you know, whatever nonsense he could tell them. They knew I was official. It wasn't there that I was up there, you know, goofing off or doing any type of mischief. I was there on business, and he was interfering. So, you know, they knew it. But didn't mean to cut you off, Tony. But yeah, Tony, then give me your thought.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. Mr. Yelverton, Sergeant Yelverton said. Also, everyone's gonna react to the situation different. The four of us can have that one scenario. Everybody's gonna do something different. So just the main thing is keep your calm, breathe, like I said, because I know what you want to do, especially after seeing different scenarios and things. We all say to ourselves, I wish that was me. I'd do this, I'd do that. You know, but in reality, let it play out.
Right.
Just get it recorded though.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, that's what you gotta do. Yeah, Steph.
Yeah, don't forget when we did What to Do When Stopped by Police, we gave you the resource to download the ACLU app, because you can just hit record. It's gonna record and it's gonna go straight to ACLU. However, you still have a copy of the recording.
Gotcha.
It's a free app.
Yeah, and there are other apps coming up as well that I saw. It was a young brother who was developing an app that if you get stopped by the police or you get caught in a situation like this, you can start hitting record, and the recording will automatically go to whoever you want it to go to, and that way, you know, you have a record of it, and you have a defense. So in the event that something happens to you, get arrested or whatever, and they confiscate your phone and place it in the evidence, you know, you have something that your family member could take to, and you know, take to the police or take to the attorneys and show, you know, and then hopefully reverse what has been done and bring charges against the person who lied on you. Like I said, we have seen instances where the danger of a Karen and a Ken, where unfortunately people who were completely innocent were lied about, the police responded, and unfortunately they lost their life. Because you think about it, no one wants to have cuffs put on. No one wants to be placed in jail. Some people just have a real fear of being detained like that and restrained like that. And, you know, of course, they're going to resist. And one of the things that I would like to see in police reform is the inclusion of the acts, the laws, the proposed laws for folks who are making false 911 calls. I really would like to see that as part of police reform, but also more training for the police officers to make sure that they are aware of these type of situations when they come on the scene, because that's very important. You as a police officer, you have a lot of power when you come on that scene. You have discretion to make an arrest or not make an arrest, and through your preliminary findings at the scene. So that's very important. And that's one of the things that I hope that they would pray, because this is something that's going on across the nation. And like I said, Montclair is here in Essex County. You know, listen, it's going on. It's going on. So we want to make sure that look, viewers, we hope that you heard what was being said tonight. We hope that it was something that was helpful to you. This is a reality, and what we're dedicated on this show to doing is bringing out the tough issues and talking about them, you know, free and clear, because we want to make sure that you get the information that you need to help you out if you are unfortunate to find yourself in any situation that is not normal. It's not normal for you to be lied upon and sit there and have police coming to you for doing nothing except putting stones in your backyard and beautify your house and make your house look beautiful. So I want to thank my guests. I want to thank, of course, Steffi, who's sitting there. Yeah, there you go, Steph.
Yeah, I'm going to the trees. Is it what's the tornado or something out there?
Well, listen. We gonna say, you know, old folks don't believe in talking or use electronics during thunderstorms, and I don't blame them. So listen, I want to just say thank you to all of you. Corey, good to see you, man. You know, good to see you. You know, get together to break some bread. We want to thank our viewers. We see Captain Clark is on there, Hey, yep, she's saying, yep, when making your counter call, put on record that you're being falsely accused and that you would like a supervisor to also respond to the scene. Yes, the great advice. Let me tell you something. Captain Clark ran her precinct. She was, I think, the only woman to be a precinct commander in the city of Newark at the time. And she, man, everybody loved her. Man, I love her. Bishop Harris loves her. We all love her. But she's real. She's the real deal. She's the real McCoy. You want to hear it? She's gonna give it to you straight. So we thank you. Thanks for coming on the show today. Thank you, Diane Mary, William Barbie, Lafayette Hamlet. That's my man. We work together. We have some good shows. Sergeant Yeverton. Listen, those are just some of the names I see on there. I want to say thank you. I said be safe out here because right now, you know, I work emergency management. I'm getting all these bings and pings on my phone about lights going out, generators kicking on, generators not kicking on. But be safe. We're under some severe thunderstorms. So be careful. This is John Arnold from Protect and Serve. I want to say good night to you all. Be safe. Come back. Oh, yes. Make sure you vote. Thank you, Tony. Thank you. Thank you. And what's that little scruffy cat's name? All right.
This is Thunder.
Thunder, yeah, that's the right name. Yeah, that's the right name. So let's make sure, please, you want to see these reforms, you have to participate, not just voting in the presidential election. You have to vote in your local elections and make sure that your mayors, your council people get out there and change and remember that they work for the people. So put them to work. All right. I'm John Arnold from Protect and Serve. Have a great night. Good to see you. See you next week at 6 o'clock right here at the New Jersey Urban Crime Foundation Facebook Live. Be blessed. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Good night.